live on Santa Cruz Waves?
Yes,
All
that's
right.
that's a 10-4.
Slowly, those people start. They're like ants to a drop of honey on the sidewalk.
That's
come
right.
To the Off-Lip Radio Show, one after another. So welcome everybody, as you are coming to the honey hole here at the Santa Cruz Boardroom. Neil, what number is our show?
Show number 470.
470. We
Yeah.
thought we'd last 3.
6
We're
shows.
still here. Tonight we got a great show, everybody.
Yeah.
It's an important show for anyone that spends any amount of time surfing or has a history of surfing or swimming, windsurfing, just being at the beach.
Right.
Because your ears are the front line of your body. When you're doing that, they take a lot of abuse and they can become like mine, which we'll talk about later. We're going to start off with Justin. Welcome to the show from the listening staff. Right here on 41st
So
Avenue.
Justin sponsored the show for a long, long time, since day one when he opened his business. It's been a long time now. And we're lucky to have both Justin and Dr. Hetzler here in our town, because he provides something that prevents you from going to see Dr. Hetzler. Are they competitors, TC?
We'll find out, because I don't know if they're stealing each other's
Is he ripping
customers
business
or not.
off? Or
We'll find out. One's fixing them, one's trying to save them.
when they leave here, will they be fighting in the parking lot?
Proactive and reactive care.
That's right.
That's what it is.
Justin, before we start, I know you make the best earplugs on the planet. I want to know, tell the customers how they can see your product if they want to look online, what your address is here in Santa Cruz as well, and how, what, is this an insurance thing? Just get us up to speed with what you're doing.
Sure. So the easy thing is, no, it's not an insurance thing, unfortunately. You can usually do like health savings accounts. A lot of times we'll prove them if the doctor can give a no before justification. For instance, sometimes after surgery you have to have some sort of water protection in the shower or something like that. So sometimes you can get a little help there.
Is that, I don't want to interrupt, to me that's surprising because it's so preventive care, in my opinion.
Yeah, our health system basically doesn't seem to ever pay for preventative care, which is much cheaper, than reactive care, in my opinion. These are $180. The surgery is
more than that. You can get a Tesla for what that costs. But, so you're
That's what he spends. That's what he spends for lunch.
I better get people bringing me sandwiches.
That's right.
And to get back to these plugs, how did you get into this field? Did you go to school specifically for ears?
No. This is actually, believe it or not, we've been doing hearing aids in my family for since 1980. I was born in '82, so that gives you an idea how long we've been doing it. So I just got into it through my family. I started doing earplugs in general because I saw a lot of police and firefighters coming in with these really terrible hearing losses. And I decided that if I did on-site ear molds and earplugs for protecting, that we could reach younger guys and gals to prevent that. Because treating those types of hearing losses it's an uphill battle. So that's kind of how I got into earplugs. And then of course, being in Santa Cruz, naturally I thought surf earplugs would be great. We developed this product. There are other products similar to this. This is the surf with membrane, of course, so you can hear with it and protect. But we developed it after learning that all the competitors out there really kind of gave it a once over, threw a product out there, and they're the only ones out there. And so no one really innovated this type of membrane system that I can find at all. And so that's what we chose to do.
So the membrane, you can, which earplugs for me, because I'm very social when I surf.
Right.
I didn't like it because I just really had a hard time hearing.
Right.
And then my head. So this is a better solution if you're like me and you want to yak out there in the water. And what is the membrane made of?
The membrane's a Gore-Tex material, actually, so it's kind of a tried and true product that they use for a lot of electronics, to waterproof microphones and speakers and things like that, and
Or
your cell
skiers,
phones.
for that matter, right?
And what?
Skiers that wear the Gore-Tex fabric?
Yeah, it's made by the same company. It's probably totally different. I don't know the science behind it, but it's made by that company, Gore. It essentially, the sound reducing rating on these is less than 2 decibels, which is basically nothing. I mean, when you're having 2 decibels of reduction, it's a very, very small amount. Competitors might be 10, 12, 15 decibels, something like that, to give some reference. So in terms of the quality, it's just phenomenal.
and these are custom molded to an ear.
Yes.
Because the competition is like you're a small or a medium or large, or you're a piece of Play-Doh that you've.
Because normally you just go to Neil's surf shop, grab a pair. You don't know what, right?
Yeah, right.
Small. Are they? Do they come in different sizes?
When I
They
wore
do?
docks, I used to have to trim them, and
Right.
try to make them
Right.
myself. And so having it molded just eliminates any of that, questionability. And plus, you can explain this better. The moldability has to keep it better waterproof.
Way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everything about it. So a lot of people come in for other earplugs, sleep earplugs or whatnot, and they always ask if it's going to be better protection or better noise reduction. And the answer is typically not. Customs give you better consistency on the seal. So you every time you put it in, you're getting the same seal or very similar. And the noise rating. Now, in these are not noise protecting, right? So you're getting a couple decibels of reduction, but the seal is for water protection. And that's gonna maintain for anywhere from 3 to 5 years until the material starts to shrink a little bit.
Let me ask. So TC races cars at the Watsonville, right? A lot of noise. Are there different earplugs? Let's say he wants to get earplugs. Should he be wearing earplugs?
Yes.
I should probably ask Dr. Hetzler. Probably yes. And are there different plugs for different uses?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, and something that's really cool about this is we actually make plugs, solid plugs for this. What that means is you can take out this guy right here and put in a piece of plastic, and then you're getting, we don't have it measured, but it's in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 decibels of reduction, which is like a good earplug. So for comparison, to give some reference here, the foam earplugs that you get over the counter, those go up to 33 decibels, which is really the highest you can get in an in-ear product. And that's because the foam density is, there's a lot of air in there for insulation. Most people that are putting those in, when you're racing, let's say the helmet's going to move your ear canal, it's going to shift things, your cartilage and so forth. They're going to come out, or you're going to jam them in to where their pressure fits so they're uncomfortable after 10 minutes. And so you really can't win. You get a good seal and then it's uncomfortable. You don't get a good seal and then it leaks sound. I mean, and that's really what custom products do. They go up to about 29 decibels.
Yeah.
If you were a musician and a surfer, you could pop these out, pop in the solid ones, go to your gig. The next day, pop in the Gore-Tex, go surf.
Yep.
Same plug.
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we have, I think we charge $20 for a set of plugs, but often if people ask for them at the time of purchase, we just throw them in because they're really not, the solid plugs are actually really cheap.
And didn't you have a program where if you have them for quite a while, like a year later, the older style, you get new technology, they can come back and trade them in?
Yeah. So those would be Westone. That's another brand, and when we shifted over from using Westone to our own, we basically did that promo for the whole year.
I got to ask Dr. Hetzler. Okay, doctor. So, how many people have come to you that you can recommend that you don't need the surgery? You can go get a set of earplugs like this from Justin. You don't need to come see me right now. But if you can, they can save themselves.
Sure.
Or does the bone retract once you have the earplugs in your ear and you're using them consistently?
I wouldn't say the bone shrinks dramatically. I mean, it may regress a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I see somebody who's got bone growth but not really symptoms that warrant surgery,
Right.
this is the way to go to try to prevent things from progressing.
Okay. And that's not TC, by the way. No. TC's good.
He's a special case.
My ears are special, Neil.
Was-
Well, and Justin, I wanted to comment on these bright colors,
Yeah.
is that new right there?
Yeah, these are tangerine right there. A lot of people like this color. Everyone seems to be going with this for the obvious reason. I mean, it's the blue. Unfortunately, it blends in with water.
Yeah,
It's going to disappear if you drop it.
How much Surface earplugs? How much are they?
They're $179.
And how can I make sure I don't lose them? I mean, will they pop out in the ocean? If I'm going to get a big wave and I'm tumbling, are they going to?
Not really.
No?
I mean, we've had a handful of people have that happen.
Can you put a band on them?
Yes,
You can.
And we can put extra retention so we can make it wrap kind of up into the ear a
Okay.
little bit more.
Being custom fit probably makes a nice snug fit. Right?
Yeah, that solves it. I'd say 80% of the time, right when we manufacture them, they're good. They don't cause any discomfort or any issues with retention or falling out. 20% of the time, of that split, maybe most of that 20% has to come back for one modification for comfort. A little bit sore, a little bit big, a little small, whatever. Out of I don't know, thousands of these that we've done now in the last few years. We've had, I think, 5 come out in the water. When people lose them, that have told us, maybe there are more and they just haven't told us, but we're pretty adamant about backing our product up. And,
Right.
If it falls out on a wave, normally, if it's within a certain time frame, we might just replace it. If it's, over a year old, we'll give a heavy discount. Things like that.
What's how those 5 what was on our air? Having it installed maybe all the way in or twisted or something.
Yeah, and we try to talk to everyone about, hey, how did it fall out? What happened exactly? Was it having any issues before then? To get a sense of what might be causing it. And I think the reality is that it just can happen to a lot of things. If you're rocked pretty hard by a wave, it's gonna cause a problem. You can hurt your neck, your back, whatever. And I think these getting popped out.
The lifespan of these are
5 years
Okay.
for anything that's opaque.
Yeah.
3 to 5 for clear.
Okay, so they can last quite a while.
Yeah.
A couple of questions about your customers. Have you ever had a freshly drilled ear come in for plugs?
Absolutely.
So that's something that the doc recommends?
Yeah, after the skin's healed, they could fit them for.
Because Neil's has kind of grown back, right? Since you did it?
Well, my doctor says it has, so I'm going to find out
We're gonna
tonight.
check
Yeah,
He claims that his has grown back.
because I don't wear it.
If he would have been wearing these plugs, Doc, would he not be having that?
Yeah.
It would have lessened it, but I mean, at the same time, people can grow bone without even being in the water.
Okay.
That can happen. The body can do that.
Second question about your customers. You've been a sponsor of the show a long time. Has anybody come in and said, I heard my ad on the Off Lip radio show?
Actually, people come in and say, no, I'm kidding. Yes, they, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to make, at least you got one. I mean,
Let me see if I have any money in my pocket.
well, we talk them up because I am a victim of bad ears from surfing my entire life. And I battle with it, and the doc looks in my ears and shakes his head at me every time. So if anyone is listening, I recommend they go and see it. I mean, you are on the corner of 41st and Capitola
41st,
Road,
yep.
directly behind the Chevron station.
Exactly, 4140 Capitola Road.
Mm-hmm.
The website's listeningstack.com.
Can anybody just knock on the door and talk to you about this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, during COVID, we're only doing appointments, but we have openings for same-day appointments throughout the week, pretty periodically. Those types of appointments are like 5-10 minutes usually. People come in, kind of ask the same types of questions, the ins and outs, and then we either set them up for an impression appointment, which is like a 10-minute thing.
Kind of like a dental tooth impression. You pack it.
It's basically, I think it's even the same material a lot of times that they use for dentures or for anything in your teeth. So.
And how long does the process take after that?
Standard, it's about a week and a half to 2 weeks. But, if you're going on a trip and you're leaving, we can make them from start to finish in 2 days if we need to.
Traveling.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're leaving in 3 days, try to come in before that. It'll give us a little more leeway if there's a problem or something pops up during the manufacture process. But in general, we can definitely do it in a couple days.
And do you run like an insurance thing for this if people lose them? Do you have that?
We do
program?
actually, yeah. So it's $25, covers them for a year, and it'll cover one or both. And
Cool.
you lose them, you don't need proof. You just
Lost them.
system.
Well, that seems like
Good deal.
We only had 5 people lose them in the water, but that seems like a pretty sound investment.
Yeah, a lot of people lose them.
Yeah,
It's not in the water.
Yeah, it's in the crappy.
I know I lose them.
It's on top of the guy came in the other day and was like, yeah, I left him. This lady was being weird when I was changing, and I put him on top of my car, and I drove away.
Yeah.
On my car. I mean, that I always say that where you're going to lose it is on the sand or in the parking lot. That's where it's going to happen. So.
And you seem like a pretty young dude. You've been doing this for a while.
He's like 80.
Yeah. So how long have you been up the street doing it now?
We are coming up
5 years?
No.
Longer?
We've been in that location for 8 years in November.
Time flies.
Yeah, but we've been in business for 10 or 11 years now, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Cool. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, and my last question before you go. I know COVID's been rough on you. Surfing's more popular than ever. Are you doing well based on what's going on with surfing right now? Have you seen an influx of people looking for plugs?
I wouldn't say we've seen any boom or anything with earplugs. Our standard business is hearing aids as well, and both of those have been kind of putting along. We haven't been in a huge hole. We haven't had a huge boom. But hopefully, more people when they're surfing will come in for this.
The percentage of people wearing earplugs I notice it. The percentage isn't that great of people wearing earplugs.
No, it's not, and yeah, I mean, we would like every single person to do that, and it's just earplugs and hearing loss and ear damage, like with bone growth, the minute you have it, it sucks.
Yes.
And it's super easy to prevent. You know, but hearing loss most of the time is noise induced. Not most of the time, but well, actually, probably a majority of the time it is noise induced. And noise induced hearing loss, just wear an earplug or reduce the noise level in some way with, you know, a hood or something. There are lots of ways that you can do it. Earplugs are the best. So.
Or getting turned off by not having the right plug, like I was.
Exactly.
I didn't like my plug. I was like, oh, earplugs suck.
Yeah.
Well, if I would have had the proper earplug,
You'd be still wearing.
my ears might be a lot happier now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Based on that alone. So, you folks that are watching, go see Justin.
Justin Stack, Listening Stack, right behind the Chevron station on 45th Avenue.
Yeah,
ListeningStack.com.
Touch it. Is that
Of course.
right? If you look, I wanted to get a good look. So you can see the little circle. That is actually that Vortex patch that allows you to hear when it's inside your ear. I guess it would be that way on your ear, but that's, I think, the game changer here.
Yeah.
Based on what is your competition is offering in earplugs.
Because equilibrium, especially for me, palatable, and equilibrium with earplugs is sketchy when you put earplugs in. Being able to hear is it works.
Sensation is different.
Yeah.
And with these, it is slight change, but it's like
You get used to it.
yeah, it's like surfing with boots or without boots.
Right.
You know, there's a little learning curve, and this is even less than that, I would say, because there's not as much as a tactile thing going on.
We're getting the water. So many people in the water nowadays. Your sensory, being able to hear, people calling you off waves, you calling people off waves. If you can't hear, it actually, in my opinion, makes it a little more chaotic in the lineup.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And so having a plug that gives you the benefit of the protection and the hearing is what I think is a big winner out there.
Absolutely.
So you guys,
Go see him.
What.com?
If you don't go see him, you're gonna go see him.
Pay now or pay later. That's your choice.
Cheap. He's cheap and he's expensive.
There's no gray area.
No.
We love that. This is kind of our annual.
It's our annual visit.
Show
Yeah.
to promote ear safety because it's important. As a victim of surfer's ear, I know how terrible it is.
I had the surgery. Yeah.
And we're gonna look at our ears tonight. Doc brought a camera.
Yep.
And probably isn't pretty,
No.
but we're gonna do that next. Justin, again, thanks for coming in.
Yep,
I'll give you one of those.
Yep.
Thanks, buddy.
Once again, your address is
4140 Capitola Road.
and listeningstack.com.
ListeningStack.com. All of our email and phone numbers is on that website, obviously.
Yeah.
And so you can get in contact with us.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, love it.
Stick
All
around.
right.
You can. We might have
I
some
will.
more questions.
Yeah.
You stick around?
Let me bring in the doc.
Okay. Doc, get in there. All right, this is I think the fourth visit by our good friend Dr. Hetzler, who's I'm a little disappointed because he's not wearing a tie.
I know.
I was a little bummed.
First time?
Right.
My wife commented, said, you have to wear a tie. I said, no, I don't.
Oh man. Oh, you broke the record.
Right? I mean, we had some important people on,
Didn't they wear bow ties?
Panetta. Nobody wears a damn tie anymore. It's,
Well, the doc's a pro.
Well, it's sort of in the COVID era, it's thought to be sort of a vector of disease, so we're
Yeah.
getting rid of ties.
I don't.
Can we just jump right into the COVID thing in ears? How did the COVID, because obviously it's a huge drain on the medical, how did it affect your business?
Everything was kind of slowed down for a couple of months, like elective surgery. There was concern that they didn't know how busy the hospitals were going to be, and so they were kind of shutting down elective surgery, so there was just less drain on medical resources. And then they realized the surgery centers really weren't feeling that effect. They could still go ahead and do the elective thing. So from about mid-March to mid-May, things were kind of shut down, and it's all geared up. And then I've got a full schedule, and we've been going full tilt ever since.
So what did you do during those months?
I actually made some YouTube videos
Okay.
about ears and some of the medical related things, how to, earplugs and the prevention techniques, some of the post-op instructions. What I found, it took me about a full day. I mean, I'm totally self-producing these things. It took me about a full day to do one, 5-minute video. So I've got a handful out there.
And do you have a channel? Can we blow
Not
up your
really.
channel?
No, you just have to, look up my name.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to me that the two things that got the most hits were our dog opening the door. It was a short little video. And then the other one is a very, very, very talented dog.
Are you up for an Emmy?
And then the other thing that surprised me was that when I do these surgeries during the post-op period, I always emphasize to people you want to keep water out of your ear. I said one of the cheap, easy things to use before you get into the more extensive earplugs is a cotton ball coated with Vaseline. And of the various videos I made, I think that one's gotten more hits than anything. I mean, I'm still, small numbers, but
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's jump into that one too. Why is a cotton ball wrapped in Vaseline or Q-tip in Vaseline easier to get?
cotton ball. If you're trying to keep water out, so you can do the surgery, and you want to have people keep water out while they're healing.
Oh,
and so
gotcha.
actually, they can shower the same day after surgery. If you take a cotton ball, put it liberally with Vaseline.
I remember
keep the
that.
water out. Dry cotton, no, water goes right through it. But if you go to a Vaseline, it's cheap and easy, and so they can use that right away during the healing process.
I just want to tell a quick story about Dr. Hetzler, okay? Because Dr. Hetzler, right? People come from all over the world to come see him,
Absolutely.
right? Because he's the guru. He's the guru, right, Justin?
Yep.
He's the man that has the pinnacle, the Mount Everest of surface ear surgery.
Right.
This is the type of guy he is. One day, TC, you and I had a radio show,
Yes.
right? And I couldn't hear shit. I mean, nothing. When I did hot yoga and water. You know how it is. The water gets in your ear. I'm reading lips, right? And I said to doctor, I email Dr. Hetz. I go, doctor, I know it's like months to come see you, but I got a show tonight and I can't hear a freaking thing. Can you help me out? 2 minutes later, I get an email back. Okay, I need you to head down the Subway, get me a foot long ham. Had the exact menu: ham, cheese, pickles, no mayo, blah 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 blah.
Found your ticket?
Huh? And here I.
Well, I think what I did is I was fitting you in kind of over my lunchtime.
Yeah, I walked in with a.
If you bring me some food, I think I can make it through.
Yeah, I walked in the Subway sandwich, and the gals, even the gals knew. Like, that's the type of guy he is.
Oh,
right?
well,
Old school.
I have a similar story from the doc. Remember mine? You go, your ear's shot. Let's go.
That was like 9 o'clock at night.
We turned the lights on. He pulled out a
Volkswagen.
prehistoric something out of my ear.
Yeah, I hate to have people go to bed with ears that look like his.
Shit, that's a question for his wife.
That was nasty.
Yeah.
Getting back to ears. He has not seen an increase of people with plugs. Have you seen an increase of people wanting to take care of their ears?
I mean, we just kind of have a steady flow. I mean, because we see the people that are having the problems, and so I'd say the majority of the time, by the time people get to my office, they're pretty bad and they're having a lot of trouble and they're not needing surgery, although some don't. But I think it's still that, as he commented before, it's that sort of thing. If it's not giving me trouble, I'm not concerned about it until you hit that threshold where it starts narrowing things down. Water's getting trapped, infections, all that goes along with that. Where if you had been using plugs earlier on, you could head that thing off and not have so much trouble and not potentially have to head towards surgery.
Just like the toothache or something,
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the comments Justin was making about hearing loss. People aren't too worried about their ears until they, start losing the hearing. And then a lot of times it's kind of horses out of the barn. You've done the damage and you can't go back.
Anything different with what's going on with surfers' ear? Have you seen any trends? Is it just kind of the same as always, and you're chipping it away?
It's kind of the same thing. I mean, everybody's ear is different, and it's like fingerprints in a way. If you lined up 100 people, everybody's pattern of growth is different. So it's sort of interesting. But oftentimes, in the two ears, left and right, are sort of mirror image. And why the body does that pattern is we really don't understand. Wow. But it's really uncanny the way the two ears can be mirror image of each other.
And just for the people who have not seen previous shows where you come on, can you just describe to them, I guess in simple terms, what surfer's ear is?
Okay, so what's been termed surfer's ear, and actually the fellow who gets the credit for the name was Dan Seftel, who was an otolaryngologist here in Santa Cruz, and he published a paper in the 70s. And basically because when the wetsuit came along and got commercialized in the 50s, more and more people started dipping through cold water, duck diving through waves. So in the 70s, they started seeing all this bone growth in the ear canal, and they thought, well, most of these people are surfers. And so what happens is the cold water, as it hits the thin skin of the inner ear canal, which is paper thin, the thinnest skin in the body, it's got no insulation. What it does is cause a reaction in the layers next to the bone that cause new bone to form. So you have a flat surface of bone, layer upon layer upon layer of bone to form, and then these things encroach. And as they narrow the space, then water becomes trapped, and then you eventually get infections or prolonged blockage of the ear. And so it happens also in anybody that's doing cold water immersion, kayakers, kiteboarders, windsurfers, but I think numbers-wise, the surfers are the ones that really have it the most.
Does it wearing a hood help?
That should benefit. I mean, anything that cuts down on the free flow of water in and out.
That's what I started.
Beneficial.
That's what I started wearing with the hood. Yeah.
The ultimate is probably earplugs and a hood.
Yeah.
Because some people still get water even with a tight-fitting hood.
Right.
But with the earplug, you're keeping that away. And the thing is, we don't know exactly where all the sensors are that set this off. Like you think about like right behind your earlobe, if the skin there got very chilled, it's not very far from there to the ear canal. So if you're protecting that as well, that might also help lessen the condition. But certainly keeping water out of the ear canal is a good way to try to head this off.
Can you talk about the old method of which was apparently very, very painful to
well, the old method is
prevent
still,
surface ear?
it's still the prominent method throughout the world.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's just to get a drill, right?
Yeah, I mean, the technique is you make a cut. Typically, the way it's done is it's under general anesthesia, operating, make a cut behind the ear, peel the ear forward, peel all the skin out of the ear, ream things out with a drill, put everything back, suture behind, put packing in the ear, and then, leave that packing for a while. And that's, there are world-class ear surgeons throughout the world that's their preferred technique. And what's been said is it makes it easier for the surgeon. But you can make the same case for saying, well, for abdominal surgery, if you make a big midline incision, that gives you lots of space, but we're doing laparoscopic work now. You can make a big filleting incision on somebody's knee and see everything inside their knee, or do arthroscopic surgery.
Right.
So we have this little channel right here called the ear canal. And if you know how to use it, you don't have to damage all those other things. You don't have to damage the skin, the muscle, the nerves by going in those other ways. But yeah, I mean, there are people I respect highly who that's their preferred technique because that's all they know how to do. That's what they have the equipment for. But I've also had a number of patients who've had that done. They had bone regrow, and then they came and saw me and went through surgery with my technique, so they can compare the two. And those people have pretty uniformly said better pain, better experience, less pain, faster healing.
Because when I had both, you did both my ears, and it ached. But I remember I was at home for the weekend, or that was a weekend. I spent Saturday and Sunday in bed. Yeah, I just felt an ache. It was a strong ache, but then after Monday it got better, and after that I was fine.
And how long until you were back in the water?
I think he kept checking on me. I think it was somebody wrote here that somebody wrote today on Facebook that you were coming, and they said, "Hey, I just had the surgery. In 2 weeks, I was back in the water."
Don't tell people that. Don't tell people.
I think for me, I think it was a couple of months, or maybe even longer.
Too quick?
Well, no. I mean, I'll give people the green light if their skin is healed. I mean, the post-op visits, what we do is we're cleaning clots out, crusts out, getting the skin to heal as quick as possible. And my end point is when I look in there, it looks like you never had an operation. Go get wet, do whatever you want. So I tell people typically I'm expecting 3 to 4 weeks. If anybody takes longer than 4, it's usually because there's a little bit of a skin infection that slows things down. I don't like to advertise 2 weeks because
no, I'm sure you don't.
People come with that expectation, and that's kind of a small club. There are a few people.
And I think it's like that, we talked about before. I think certain people have had the surgery 6 or 7 times, and other people haven't needed to have it at all. Never worn a hood, never worn an earplug in their life,
Bastards.
And they don't have it, right? John Mill, right? I think John Mill was one, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Didn't we talk about
individual variation? There's just tremendous, why one person's physiology doesn't and another person's does. We don't really understand.
Right. So for the technology, from when I did mine, I think I don't know, 5 years ago. 5 years ago, the technology changed a little bit, or is it still the same?
There's some little variations. I mean, there's a few instruments that are still kind of evolving, but the basic principles are the same. I mean, the bone goes in layers, so you can use these little 1 millimeter chisels. Tap, tap, tap. It comes off in plates like you're working on a crystal, like working on wood grain. And
is everyone's bone the same, like tap, 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 or have you got TC? Have you got to take a big swing at it?
Some are harder than others. I mean, I remember this one guy. He was like a 26-year-old water polo player. He was about 6'5", and I think we were kind of dulling our chisels on his bone.
Right.
And then the oldest person I've ever operated on for this condition is 88. And actually, their situation was their hearing aid earpiece wouldn't fit well because of the boners. They weren't surfing any longer, but. That bone seemed a little bit softer than a healthy 26-year-old.
Right.
When it comes to this surgery, and we were talking about how the other styles to cut the ear off, who taught you? Because you kind of invented these tools a little bit too. You were involved in the evolution of this surgery.
Yeah, I mean, some of these things were like stock items that we used for other types of ear operations, but then there were a few that we evolved on our own. And I should give a plug to somebody that really helped a lot in the early stages. A guy named Wayne Robinson was a surgical technician that was working with me, and he was dealing with some of the equipment manufacturers. And so they took a stock 2 millimeter chisel, narrowed it down to 1, and then they also took one and made it a little bit of a curve in the tip. And that was actually the real helpful thing, because if you think about using a chisel on a very acute angle, it has a tendency to want to kind of slide off the surface. So there's, and I'm sorry I didn't bring some along. But the one has a little bit of a curve in it, and that little bit of a curvature lets you just bite, and you can take better shavings. It doesn't tend to slide off. or it can kind of follow the arc of the tip. So most ear surgeons don't have those instruments. I mean, I've published in medical journals, and here's the model numbers, and here's how you order these things, and anybody can get them. But most ear surgeons don't have that equipment, and those key things, you can't really do the operation without that.
You got those tools named after you? Or the Hetzler
There actually is a German manufacturer that's got my name on it.
One's
but-
called the Subway.
Yeah, I think they've sold 4 or 5 so far. So.
The foot long.
Well, who's educating these doctors that there's an easier way? Is anybody out there like?
Well, I mean, I go to meetings, and it's all been shut down now. But I've given talks in South Africa and Australia and Ireland, and I've had surgeons come from Japan and Germany to see how we do it. So somebody has to show, have the initiative to show the interest, either to come or read the articles and contact me. But there's no formal way of saying, okay, you guys, here's the better way to do this. That's something an individual surgeon has to come. But what happens is, the patients are kind of voting with their feet. And so, like in the last month, I've had people come from Alaska, Florida, Maine, and then they go back and have their care with their local doctors. And some of the local doctors that might be seeing, the kind of results we're getting and how these patients do through that, which makes them realize, oh, there's something else going on out there. Maybe I want to. But I think there's a lot of surgeons that don't do these operations very often. And so they're just going to fall back on what they're familiar with and the equipment that they have. So to innovate something new that they're doing infrequently is probably not going to happen.
Are we seeing more Northwest surfers getting surfers here?
The right
I
ear.
try to ask you this question when I see you, but are we, as more people are surfing in the Northwest, are we seeing an increase in surfers?
You mean
here?
like Washington? You mean
Yeah, Washington,
further north?
Oregon, Canada.
I have had a number of people coming out from British Columbia and Washington, but I don't know. I mean, the numbers, I think per capita for this problem, I think Santa Cruz is the world center. So the surgeries I'm doing, about half are local people and half are from out of the area.
And
But
does the right ear get worse
when
here,
when you look at big data, it sort of evens out.
Okay.
But there may be a little bit of a predisposition, and a lot of times one individual will have slightly more in one ear than the other.
Yeah.
And I think with the north winds, if you're sitting on your board staring out to the waves, north winds hitting the right ear. So a little bit of a tendency, but not dramatic.
So have you told people, like, listen, if you wear a hood and a pair of earplugs, then you don't have to come see me.
Can't guarantee that.
You can't guarantee, no, but
because there's actually a study they did in England. They had people who were swimmers in the North Sea.
Yeah.
And they were having problems. They didn't say what they did. I think they probably drilled them. And they followed these people over 10 years. Some of these people did not go back to swimming in the North Sea afterwards. And over a 10-year period, some of these people closed off their ear canal 50%. So what we know is that having the operation does not prevent your body from making more bone.
Okay. So like mine could have grown back.
Yeah, you could have this operation, never go in the ocean again. Your body could still grow bone to some degree.
Right.
But certainly the cold water is the main stimulus that really tends to set that off.
And is that because your body was trained to make that bone?
It's almost like it got turned on and it doesn't get turned off by having an operation. So that tendency may always be there. And again, some individuals may have more of a predisposition towards that than others. And those are the people that we end up seeing with the problem.
Wow. Can we get the machine down? Can we get the laptop down here?
Fire the laptop up?
Sure, looking at some ears?
Huh? Let's fire that thing off.
So I got an idea here.
Okay,
So,
here we go.
So when's the last time you had your ears cleaned out?
I don't. Cleaned out?
No.
It looked at?
Scope
surgery's probably 5 years ago. Yeah.
We've done it in the last couple of years with him here.
Oh, you mean looked at?
Yeah.
You looked at, or I mean surgery? Oh, so my surgery's probably like 5 years ago.
TC, have you?
No.
You've never had
When you
it.
see my ears, you'll be like, dude.
So
If we can see it,
is there a possibility of live streaming the next surgery that one of you guys have?
Yeah.
Okay, Neil, hold the camera.
We'll do it here
Yeah.
in the boardroom.
Right. The surgery in the boardroom. Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
TC does.
All right, I'm going first.
Yeah, just sit here.
Okay.
Okay, this is TC's ears right here. And TC's had a problem for many.
See it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first off, my ears have been giving me a lot of problems lately, so I imagine it's going to be completely gross.
Need it.
Kind
Oh,
there's the bone.
TC, this needs a stick of dynamite in there, buddy.
Yeah.
What do you see, Doc?
Groundhog?
Looks like we got some wax on top of pretty good bone growth. Thing just froze on us. Here, let me check one thing here.
Technical glitch. That's TC's ears.
My ear killed the machine. That's how.
Yeah. No. And the whole audience just left.
There we go.
That's this.
Okay, and then let's have a look on the other side.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna he's getting his ears checked here. What do you see, Doc? A lot of hair. Need a haircut, TC.
I'm working on it.
There's so much wax there, we can't really see much.
Is that like a Volkswagen Jetta in there? I think
There is.
Yeah, we got to take care of that tonight. You can't really see past all the wax.
Well, that was the ear that when I saw you, we pulled that out, and literally, it went, ah, like I put in a hearing aid or something, getting that wax
You want
out.
to see?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was amazing. Okay, Neil, let's check it out.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody, for that gory horror show of my ear. Okay, we're getting the camera lined up here.
Justin, you're next, buddy.
Yeah. Let's just tilt this back just a little bit.
So yeah, there's
You'll
been
get
definitely
to
been some bone regrowth. That's
Regrowth.
lower
Oh,
left,
look at that
lower
bump. Wow, Neil.
And then there's
What
some
the
space
heck?
up above where the sound's getting through.
Man, it's at the bottom there.
At least he doesn't have all that
Oh,
wax.
that one's.
That one's
Yeah,
almost
the other one.
closed, halfway.
How am I looking, Doc?
Yeah.
Is water getting stuck in there? Is it a problem?
I guess you better get your checkbook ready, Neil. Oh, there's a
So
little
this
bit
one's
of
got a
bone.
little more space. So we're looking at his left ear now. So there's been some bone regrowth, that convexity on the left and that convexity on the right, but he's got more of a channel there.
Definitely on the
So
bottom
you're,
is wider.
You're definitely narrow in your right ear.
But that's textbook surfer's ear right there.
Yeah.
Who's been operated on and
But
supposedly
do you want
repaired.
to come back and see? You don't need to have surgery again.
Not unless you're having problems.
Not yet.
You
All
have
right.
problems.
Okay.
This is what an ear is supposed to.
This is okay. Here comes Justin now. Yeah. Yeah.
Here comes the.
This is
When they shoot
comes Mr.
pictures
G-
and
Mr.
videos of ears.
comes
okay.
Mr. G.
And,
ears.
and Doc, you were saying you could buy this contraption on Amazon to check your ears at
These
home.
cameras you can buy on, yeah, you can.
Okay,
So there's
let's
some
see.
wax there.
Oh, look at that.
We may need to help you out with that later tonight too. So that's just a big chunk of wax there.
That's what wax is supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's healthy wax.
That's
see how
not
the
my
other side
prehistoric wax.
Yeah, it's not petrified.
Mine was like a petrified tree. Okay, let's look at the other side here. No, it looks clean. Just a little bit of wax.
stuff, but otherwise a pretty wide open ear canal.
And you can get this camera at home, folks, and you can do this yourself.
USB ear camera you can find on Amazon for less than $20. Yeah.
Less than $20, you can check your friend's
Okay,
ears and
every month
laugh.
wax in that one. Should we look at my ear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should get your mic, TC.
Okay.
So I have a little exostosis on one side.
You can do your own ears?
Yeah. I can't operate on myself, but I can look at them.
When you do the surfer's ear operation, is that are you asleep when that happens?
Totally asleep. Yeah, general anesthesia. Let's see.
And what's
I
the
think
average length of that surgery?
So if we're actually operating, when we're actually, have the operation going, about an hour, hour and a half per ear. Okay, so
Look at
I've got pretty good opening, but I've got one little knob up here,
Yeah.
which I'd attribute to open water swimming. I used to do more like open water swimming, triathlons, that kind of stuff. And I never wear earplugs.
Is that the one up there on top you're looking
Yeah.
at?
Yeah, that little knob
Yeah.
right there. So that's pretty small. That's not causing problems. Otherwise, pretty open ear canal.
So that's pretty much a textbook perfect ear right there.
And
Well,
then this other
He
side.
sucks.
It does. Did mine look like that?
No.
No.
Those look like a car crash.
And this one's pretty open. So this is
Justin, yours look good.
This little,
Yeah,
this little knob right here is the part of the malleus bone. That's actually normal. That's the first of the hearing bones behind the eardrum.
Okay.
So that's pretty open ear canal.
Okay.
A little bit of wax, but otherwise
Step
okay.
to the.
Is that your eardrum in the back there?
Yep.
Is that what the darker thing?
That's all the eardrum.
That's
yeah.
all eardrum? Okay.
Yeah.
It looks crystal clear.
Man.
So clearly, I've not been spending enough time in the ocean.
No. Clearly, you've been spending too much time working.
Yeah.
Saving ears one ear at a time. Is there a
So let's can we do a score, like a score? Like,
score?
Yeah, a 10 being terrible, 1 being excellent. Let's start with Justin.
Justin has great looking ear canals. Just has a little bit of wax.
Like an 8. Like an 8.
More than that, probably
A 9.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you got a 9. Justin got a 9.
right.
Okay, and Doc, I got it. What's my score?
based on the bone closure.
Based on the what's going on in here.
0 is there's no space, right?
What's that?
0 is the worst. And
Yeah.
10 is the best.
No. 0 is the best and 10's the worst.
Well, then Justin gets like a 1.
Oh, you got a 1.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a 1. Okay.
But you're not having water get stuck. I'll give you like a 7.
Ooh, but no, it's not that good. Not that good. Okay, and Doc, how about yourself?
Probably a 0 to 1.
0, 1. Very good. Very good. Okay, let's go over here.
He's probably in the 8 to 9 range.
Oh,
Too far apart.
So I mean, I've seen a couple of. Most people don't get to be 10s just because they had too much trouble before they ever get to that point. But I had a guy that came out from North Carolina who had bone growth that had closed his ear canal and pressed the skin up against his eardrum. It had some infections. It all scarred together.
How much pain was that guy in?
It wasn't pain, but he had horrible hearing. And
Right.
his hearing was like 70 decibels. He came in with earbuds and some kind of a phone amplifier.
Right.
Because he couldn't, both ears are pretty similar.
Right.
And so it was a matter of get the bone out and then you got to get the skin away from the eardrum. Now that was going to tear up the eardrum, but it separated nicely, so he finished that with normal hearing.
Was he a surfer?
He was a surfer from Outer Banks in North Carolina.
Wow.
Good
Wait,
spot.
so the bone growth stuck to
So the bone growth pressed the skin up against the eardrum. And he had some infection. So he had two infected surfaces that scarred together.
Gotcha.
And so you can take the bone away and you see that little skin scarred to the eardrum. So they had to separate that to get things where they needed to be.
Wow.
That was about the worst I've seen.
I have a question I wanted to ask you. It's so common to get water after a surf in your ear.
Sure.
What would, in your mind, would be the simplest or best way to eliminate that after it happens?
So you've already got water in there, and that's where the classic thing is. There's commercial products, swim ear, which is basically rubbing alcohol. And some people just use rubbing alcohol itself. You don't want to use that if there's a hole in the eardrum or scratches in the skin because it'd be real uncomfortable. But that can help water evaporate.
So I mean, I have that thing with the hydrochloric flush, right?
I'm not hydrochloric.
What's the hydroperoxide?
Not hydrochloric, no.
So,
Hydroperoxide, you can
yeah, you have burned. My thing will be burned.
Mustard gas.
Yeah, mustard gas. Yeah.
nothing, no flammable product.
No problem. Then you got the guy. I tried the candle. The candle thing. You stick in your ear with a candle. You see that, right?
Does that work, or is that a
No, it was just.
No. I mean,
So
what
what's the best? My question is, what's the best way to clean your ears? Q-tip, where you stick your Q-tip
Well,
in. No
first, step one is like finger in a washcloth. In my profession, the classic dog moving ears don't use Q-tips in your ears at all. But the reality is people can use Q-tips. So I've broken down what I've said is there's a safe way to use Q-tips. The safe way is grab the Q-tip with a cotton piece to stick with your fingertips
Right.
to limit the depth. And that's going to limit about a half an inch. The eardrum is only an inch down inside. So
Okay.
if you grab it with a Q-tip with a cotton piece of stick, you should be able to go in that far and kind of twirl it. Most wax is made in the outer half inch of the ear canal, so by going that far, you should be able to get it.
Okay.
If you have a whole ear full of stuff, you're just going to push it in like a ramrod, and that's not going to solve it.
Okay.
Or if you have a bunch of bone in the way, again, it's just going to get pushed in. But if people are just trying to do maintenance, kind of twirling a Q-tip at the outside, grabbing with the cotton piece of the stick,
Right.
that should be safe.
You got a question? I got a question.
Well,
too.
one of the questions I had was about, when you scoped my ear, there's a bunch of hair in my ear canal. And I always wanted to kind of like that hair, because I felt like that was insulation.
Sure.
Is there any truth to that?
No. I mean, not as far as insulating. I mean, it actually, sometimes the hair can tend to trap more wax. There's a few patients I have that have just really, it's like a forest in there. And I literally take a scissor and trim the hair periodically for these guys because nothing can get past that. I mean, water would get through, but you can't get the wax to come out through the hair growth.
And when that wax gets in deep, the only way to do it is by seeing you?
Well, people can try things on their own. I mean, there's commercial products. There's the Murine ear wash kit. It's kind of a flushing type system, hydroperoxide. But the challenge is sometimes those things just make things softer, but they don't really get anything out. So it can make it sit there be kind of a soupy mess. So, but people can try things on their own to start with. And, what I've got is I've got a microscope and little micro things and suctions, and so I can get wax out of any situation. But
No, it was insane. When I saw you, you literally have a camera, and you got this micro little tweezer grabber thing.
Yeah.
And you, with the camera, went in there. Is the camera on the tweezers?
no.
Okay.
It was that thing's made by Caterpillar, TC.
No, we have like a binocular microscope, the same kind of thing we use in the operating room. And the instruments we use in the office are the same things, same kind of tools we use in the operating room. So you can be very precise and get things out in a relatively comfortable way. I mean, I think, part of the issue with ears and going to doctors and wax and cleaning all that kind of stuff is that, it's a very sensitive area down inside there. And if people start poking around, you can have kind of a bad experience, because once you start, irritating the skin, it's painful, bleeding, this kind of stuff. So some people's hesitancy is like, I don't want to go see the doctor because it was really painful last time. So generally, if you go to an ear, nose, and throat guy, or woman, they should have adequate equipment to do it carefully and comfortably and get it out of there. And then, like we talked about, these cameras you can buy. Some of those have little attachments that come with them, which if you use very, very carefully, somehow almost like fly paper on a little extension that you could use to get a little bit of stuff out. But you just got to be careful.
Right.
The eardrums, something you want to respect. You want to protect the skin.
Do eardrums heal well if you plop?
They can. Another reason to wear earplugs is that if you slap the water's surface. I mean, we see people every year who've done that and pop an eardrum. And a lot of times it can heal up on its own, not require surgery. If you can keep the water out, minimize infection. So the eardrum is really kind of amazing how well it can heal, and people end up with normal hearing after something like that.
Has COVID affected, or have you had to see people with COVID based upon you being ear, nose, and throat doctor?
I mean, typically we're not seeing them in the acute stage in our office.
Okay.
I mean, people are trying to keep the COVID people out of the office and not spreading it around.
Right.
And I've seen people at the hospital. I've been consulted on people in the hospital with COVID and various things. But yeah, there's some of the early symptoms in COVID are sometimes loss of smell and taste.
Yeah.
It's one of the early symptoms. And sometimes some of the symptoms seem like kind of like a cold. I mean, obviously it can become much more severe than that, but some people in the mild situations it feels like a cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends who had COVID. That was the only symptom, is smell and taste.
Yeah.
They didn't even know they were sick, but they're like, I can't smell and I can't taste. I think I need to get a test. And they were infected. It was pretty incredible.
That found out to be one of the early symptoms.
Yeah.
And
Well-
now, has everybody in your office been vaccinated?
Not everybody. I mean, we're still kind of going through the process of, trying to make it happen for everybody, but not everybody that works has been vaccinated.
Do you know which one you got?
I got Pfizer.
Pfizer?
Yeah, 2-dose Pfizer.
Okay.
Doctor, thank you.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
Great to see you guys.
You're always a great guest.
Yeah.
And it was always good to see Justin, too.
Justin, thank you. Justin, once again, give us your website about these plugs, because I'm scared to death. If anyone watching probably is like, I need plugs now.
Listeningstack.com.
Listeningstack.com. There we go.
And I do have one solution now. One of my clients has a ton of ear hair. And what he does is he goes to European Wax Center or any wax center, and you can do this, and you can get your ears waxed.
Wow.
Now, in my experience with that place in particular, and any place that is not like a high-end salon, you want to get someone that's done it multiple times before.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so
You want the
what I'll do
pro.
with my
You don't want the
hands-
rookie.
So,
Yeah.
All right, so you can actually
But-
wax those ears.
Yeah, and he swore by it. He loved it. You do your nose hairs and stuff. I actually used to do that. I went over there to do my nose hairs just because it was so much more comfortable for me. But he used to get his ears right in this little area, the outer ear part. Where you don't want to go, of course, is too deep because then it's
Well,
problematic. But
Neil knows this, because when you get old, hair grows everywhere fast except your head.
Yeah.
You know? You're like, what the heck? My ear hair grows faster than my hair on top. So,
She's putting that thing
yeah.
over here.
Let's get some love for our sponsors.
Love the sponsors. I want to thank Merch for Socks.
You got him on today?
Yeah.
Boom!
Our guests get Merch for Socks before they leave.
Hey, you guys get merged for
I
socks.
want to thank
Yeah.
Janie Medved for Compass Real Estate prepares a home for sale with a concierge service at no cost.
Woo!
Which brings added value to the sale that helps sellers with already emotional and stressful process. Stay tuned for when Janae will be joined by her two daughters to make up Team Medved. For all contact info, visit JanaeMedvedHomes.com. And one of my favorite guests, TC, she was here the other day. Shelly Strail.
Oh.
She
I
is
need to
a
see her.
character.
I need to go.
thought she was going to be like, is this kind of stuck-up lawyer? But she was she was funny as heck. And she is a local estate planning law office focusing on living trust, wills, trust, and probate. Shelly Strail offers a complimentary consultation via Zoom or house calls. All necessary safety precautions are in place. Call Strail Legacy Planning at 621-2165 or visit SantaCruzEstatePlanning.com. Chill Out Cafe, where they
Roll the
all
fatties.
the fatties across the street.
We saw Johnny the other day.
Character.
Hey, should we
talk about that guy?
should probably apologize for that.
What?
Or apologize on his behalf.
Who?
Our guy.
The asshole?
The American Airlines pilot.
Yeah, that's right. So we had a show out here at the end of the street.
Yeah.
Right, Doctor?
Sure.
And so
And what happened?
I said, I made my little speech, you can't wear a mask. If you don't wear a mask, you don't have to wear a mask. If you don't wear a mask, don't go across the street. That's a no mask area. If you're going to be here, wear a mask. Well, this guy did refuse to wear a mask. And he said he wasn't on the property, he was on the sidewalk. And he was just a jackass. He was an ass. Remember he was telling the saxophone player
To wear a mask.
to wear a mask. I'm like, dude,
Because
you're
I
a
won't wear a
saxophone-
mask as a saxophone player wears a mask.
Right? And the singer, the band, Don,
Yeah.
I can't wear a mask, I'm the singer.
And here's the thing. He had a mask around his neck. He took it off and put it in his pocket. Yeah.
So his name is Steve Henderson.
Steve Henderson,
He's
he's
an
an American
airline pilot with American Airlines.
Yeah.
And I'm deciding, TC, whether to send the plethora of video
Everybody's saying
I
you
have
paid
of
for
this
this mask.
asshole, So, do we keep it or do I send it in?
You know what's amazing to me about that whole situation was how just absolutely selfish he was and how he handled himself. It was just insane. Everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody's having a good time. He's the one who's not. When everybody in the crowd asked him to wear one,
I told the audience that if the audience would stand up and applaud this guy, you know.
Yeah. He put a mask on.
Yeah, to put a mask on.
He did not.
No.
And nor would he cross the street when everybody said
no.
Because Neil says, show's over, this guy won't wear a mask.
So Steve Henderson.
Steve Henderson. Is he local?
Local. American Airlines pilot.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're
on an airplane, you got to wear a mask.
And by the way, if you're a pilot, you have to be. There's a pod. You can't be in a crowd. That's their own rule. You cannot be in amongst the crowd.
Okay, so while I was there, he was talking. So one of his friends pulls his mask off, and they're talking. It's about 5 o'clock. The sun's starting to set, and I'm looking at him, and I can see them spraying each other. I can literally see them.
The silhouette.
Yeah, the sun behind them, the backlit sun, is just like spraying each other. And I'm thinking to myself, that jackass won't wear a mask.
So Steve Henderson, you're welcome to come to any of the shows.
Just wear a mask.
Just wear a mask.
Like everybody
else. You
else.
don't wear a mask. We're going to call you out. We're going to film you. We're going to send the video into American Airlines.
And he's on Instagram too, right?
Yeah, his Instagram account is
Impeach Biden.
Impeach Biden.
Yeah, Impeach Biden is his Instagram handle.
And let's thank Pizza One and Aptos to go to order 684-1110. Jesus Christ, that pizza's good. Jamie Jens from Santa Cruz Core Rehab. I'm gonna go see Gabby Thursday for my massage at 8:45. Do not call me at 8:45.
This COVID thing in our core, right? Jeez.
Aloha on the grill. I want to thank Numa.
Numa's
on that. He's sliding people. What's that? The app with the dating app.
Oh, Tinder.
Numa's hitting it hard. Don't forget the listening stack for your custom-made state-of-the-art surface earplugs. Check them out at listeningstack.com.
Let's get another look at these. By the way, the yum orange ones.
Why are you doing that? Surface Fisherman Boaters.
Beautiful.
The wave clock is your nautical station for waves
Those
and
are
tides,
nice.
showing you real-time ocean conditions on sale at thewaveclock.com.
These are actually flavored like the tangerine.
You can eat them.
Tic Tacs.
Are they really? Scratch and sniff?
In a survival situation.
Yeah. Medical grade silicone. You can practically use it.
So road pie. I want to thank Road Pies, the homemade savory pies that you deliver, that they will deliver. Go to roadpie.com.
What flavors of road pie are there?
There's so many steak and kidney pie, shepherd's pie,
All
chicken
kinds.
and brie. There's a million of them. That's
Chicken
so
and
good.
brie sounds great.
Now, there's an article in the San Antonio Mercury News today about the increase of sharks out here.
We've been telling them that for
Out
years.
here, apparently.
Okay, first of all, we don't even get paid the big bucks, and we've known
Now,
that.
Chris the helicopter pilot, and once again, he's on the Mercury News. Apparently, there's way more sharks than there ever have been. And Sean Rovi is yes, he's wearing the band. So now he's going to be double band. He's going to get another band to put the hell in it.
Hey, so I was down by your house the other night.
Yeah.
And this is like Shark Central, right, where he lives. And my wife and I are walking by, and here's this guy just standing, like chest deep in the water. There's not a soul in the water except him. I'm like, the only hot dog on the entire beach. That guy is so brave. So, okay.
Also, last but not least, I've known Mike Gay, owner of the Argus Company, for over 30 years. He's one good dude who I cannot give anyone a higher recommendation to buy a previously owned vehicle. Stop by and see Mike at the corner of Brampton 40 Drive and Water Street. Once again, I want to thank Dr. Hetzler for coming on the show.
Doc, thank you
Want
so
to
much.
thank Justin
He's a
Stevens
filmer,
for the show.
too.
He's a filmer.
Fuck nuts.
And we got Bruno and Sean playing on Friday night at the condos out by the Hook.
Awesome.
And Papiba and friends on Sunday afternoon right here at the end of 41st and Portola.
Awesome. Who's next Tuesday?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
Okay, well,
Ancestry, I think. Oh, really good band.
really good band?
Yeah.
We'll let everybody know about next week. We will see you soon. Thank you for tuning in to the Off Lip Radio Show live from the Santa Cruz boardroom. Hope you learned some stuff about ears. Take care of your ears. I didn't, and I'm paying for it. So don't come see the doc. Go see Justin and get an earplug. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon. Good night, everybody.